Good morning, everyone. Welcome to AM Sports here with me, Muftao Nabila Abdullahi. The Minister of Youth and Sports, Mustafa Yusuf, has revealed that Ghana paid in excess of $3 million to the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation to broadcast the African Games 2023. Speaking before the Public Accounts Committee on Monday, Mustafa Yusuf revealed that the government decided to engage the national broadcaster because it was becoming extremely difficult to get a rights holder for the competition.
You had an arrangement with GBC to cover the All-Africa Games, right? Can you share with this committee how much that coverage was for and whether payment has been made for same?
Yes, GBC was the official broadcaster for the African Games, the 13th African Games, and I can confirm that full payment have made to GBC.
Do you have per chance what the amount was?
I can't recall the exact amount, but I know that it's in the excess of $3 million US dollars.
You paid GBC
yes.
in excess of $3 million US dollars
yes.
for coverage of the All Africa Games.
Yes.
Chairman, I think that I would rest here and maybe the next time GBC appears before us, because most of the technicians who worked on the All Africa Games have still not been paid. And so we wanted to ascertain if you have paid and how much has been paid. Chairman, I'm grateful.
Let's still stay on the Minister of Youth and Sports, and he has also spoken about why the National Youth Resource Centers that government started about 6 years ago are still not completed. According to him, a member of the NYA took the authority to the Supreme Court, and there was a ruling that they will not be funded by the District Assembly's Common Fund because they are not bound by the statutes governing Ghana or the Constitution governing Ghana to receive part of the money from the District Assembly's Common Fund. That is the reason why those facilities are yet to be completed.
Obviously, Chairman, and I appreciate the challenges that we are currently facing challenges with the funding, because the National Youth Authority was the institution funding these stadiums that we are building. But when our colleague took the Common Fund disbursement to the Supreme Court, and the Common Fund was directed that we're not eligible per the laws that we have passed here to get 5% of the allocation of the Common Fund to the National Youth Authority, which was the source of the funding for this facility. We had started having issues for the past 3 years. So we decided that the little that we are getting from the Common Fund, because she has to use her discretion instead of what you approved, the Parliament approved, directed because of the Supreme Court ruling, the little that we are getting is that we are now making sure that we finish them in phases, because the money that originally the budget that we had cannot continue to use work on all the time.
Now, let's take a look at the players who have been assembled by Yusuf Basige to represent Ghana in this year's FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup. And from the goalkeepers, we have Afi Amenyaku. There is also Jenna Kayla and Najat Salam. For the defenders, we have Comfort Yebua, Esther Tay, Abiba Isa, Sarah Kubeli, and then Hannah Nyame. For the midfielders is Asana Alhassan, Helen Alumenu, Veronica Kuma, and Wasima Mohammed, Belin Nyako, Stella Nyamiche. For the forwards, there's Jennifer Owusua, Jennifer Dawa, Mercy Atobra, Mary Amponsa, Tracy Chum, Salamatu Abdullahi, and Mefia Nyame. These are the players that Yusuf Basigu has assembled for the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup that will be taking place in Colombia. Now, let's talk about the CAF Champions League. And Samatex, champions of the Ghana Premier League, they secured a win when they went away to Cameroon to come up against Victoria United in their maiden CAF Champions League game. And owner of the club, in Sanctuary, has been speaking about the success that they chalked last week.
We thank Almighty God for granting us this victory in Douala. It was not an easy game, especially when we are going as D-Bands and then also playing away from home. The boys have done very well, and we all have to congratulate ourselves. And I want to use this medium to thank all our supporters, both across the length and breadth of this country, who supported us to reach this far. I want to take this opportunity on behalf of the Samatex board as well, football club, to congratulate the technical team, the management team, and then the playing body. They've done very well, but the work is not done. As we all know, in football, anything can happen. So I want to take this opportunity also to tell all the supporters in Ghana. Samatex has a lot of supporters in Ghana. Everybody should come and cheer up the team come Sunday, the 25th of August, to make sure that at least we support the team to win so that the deal can be completed. We should come in our numbers, massive numbers, to support the boys so that they can deliver the next match with a glorious victory so that we can go ahead the next stage of the competition.
From Samatex, let's go to the camp of Accra House of Folk. Hitherto, this was a club mocked by people on social media because they did not have a training facility. The club also did not even have a proper secretariat to run their daily affairs. It appears the board and management have changed the course of the Phobia family by building one of the best sports facilities in West Africa at Pobiman. My colleague, Victor Achutamaklu, went to the facility and put together this report.
For many years, Accra Hearts of Oak were criticized for not having something as basic as a training ground they could call their own. The paradox of that situation is that Accra Hearts of Oak have always, at least since 1995, owned a land big enough to accommodate the construction of 4, possibly more, of these training pitches that they've always been criticized for. And not just that, any other infrastructure that a modern football club ought to have.
We had a plot at Pobiman that was bought years ago, about 20, 40 years back, under the regime of Frank Sawyer. Frank Sawyer did very well. All they did was to put down giant pillars to identify our land.
But construction did not start immediately. And as we've already established, for the next 2 decades, they had to shuttle between Legon, cantonments, and even Accra Central for places to train, while the club's administrative operations had to be carried out where we now call Farah Avenue.
So I remember one day, myself and my team went to Aquinas, because I've been told that that's where they train, because they trained there the day before, only for us to be told by the communications team that, unfortunately, the school has given the field out to another institution, so they have to find an alternative ground.
Everything was done in the founder's house. Then they moved it to Tudu. That was where we had our office, 2-room office. More than 60 years until we acquired our own office on the Farah Avenue.
In 2011, the club was sinking. If you've seen a photo of the Phobia bed, which by the way is an old minibus Hearts of Oak used to own that was later on passed on to the Aurora's team. If you've seen a photo of that bus being pushed in traffic, it would be from that period. In the simplest of terms, things weren't great for Accra Hearts of Oak, and something had to change. What happened?
Hearts of Oak were in massive distress. Somewhere around 2010, 2011 thereabout, where the club needed a new direction. They needed to find a way of getting funds coming into the club. So the idea about floating shares to get investors coming on board came on. Some way, somehow, they didn't meet the requirements to enlist the club on Ghana stock market. So that wasn't to be. Then to go after them. Now the owner or the majority shareholder came through with Strategic African Securities. As you see in SARS, you see Hearts of Oak play with that on their jersey. He came through to acquire the club, owning it as the majority shareholder, and since then been bankrolling the club. And the club has looked stable financially from that point because everything is run through him and SARS.
Construction works on the facility started a few years before, but in 2022, cash requirements for the inaugural African Football League gave Togbi Apede a new perspective.
CAF invited Kotoko and Hasselhoff into a meeting when they were planning on introducing the African Football League, and there were requirements. What he saw in that meeting, what he heard in that meeting, pushed him to invest in the infrastructure of the club because there were basic requirements, having their own facilities in terms of training, hostels, offices. That sparked some energy in him to come, to Ghana. And if you watch the process, right from that, Congress, when they came back, everything changed in terms of infrastructure for Accra. So we saw a lot more agency in their approach.
2 years later, Probiman is almost complete. In fact, for the first time in its history, Hearts completed an entire football season while training on their own facility. That was the 2024-25 season. Beyond the lush artificial pitch, there are 2 natural grass pitches and a third that is still to be developed. The Hartsevok Sports Complex also houses basketball and tennis courts, but that's not all there is to Probiman.
This is the hostel area. What you can see on my left-hand side over there, the L shape, is the administrative block where coaches can still have their offices over there. And then the players can have their classrooms. And then let's say our nurses for medical, they also have an office over here. So that L shape here is the administration block. And on my right-hand side here is bedrooms meant for the academy boys. What is here is the same thing here. And then the U shape you are seeing also is also a hostel. Behind it is the 4 apartments that we went there before, meant for the technical team.
Last month, Hartsevok formally opened the rebuilt commercial center at Asalam Down, where once stood a dilapidated secretariat. Now stands a 4-story facility befitting a club the size of Accra Hartsevok. In 2016, Togbi said the club was worth $8 million. But after these investments, its value will certainly appreciate.
Well, you're not just buying the infrastructure, you're also buying the history as well. A piece of land in Asalam Down costs you probably $2 million. Not to talk about the whole infrastructure on that piece of land. So it is worth something. Probiman is huge. And once he's done there, it's also huge. So look, they are the most valuable club, if you ask me, in my own estimation.
In terms of investment into clubs, Togbi Apede stands alone on Mount Rushmore. Yet, there are still significant voices of dissent. At last year's annual general meeting, the fact of his ownership of the club upset a few people.
The land is owned by, Hartsevok. We have had to go and renegotiate the transaction with the chiefs and elders of Probiman. Okay? And I think at one time they were like 2 separate land properties. We had to bring 2 separate lands together in one lease agreement.
Basically, it's for Accra Hartsevok.
Who else?
We have been hearing the team belongs to someone.
Which team?
Accra Hartsevok belongs to someone.
Of course, it belongs to people.
Yes, so I would like to know because I'm also part of Accra Hartsevok.
So the Accra Hartsevok belongs to who? The owners. Yes. Now the project has delayed. The bank debt has matured. SAS has paid it. We couldn't call you to come and pay. We couldn't call you to come and pay. So SAS is paying on behalf of all of you. It deserves that respect. It doesn't mean that only SAS owns it. SAS paid for the head office, the commercial center. We could have come to each of you to bring money.
Regardless, Togbi has set the club on the path to a sustainable future. If only they can extend their off-field magic to the pitch.
But I think that they should go into youth development, where they have scouts across the sub-region to be able to get the best out of the best players to train, them at Probiman. that may also serve as a revenue generation option for them. We've seen Right to Dream and what they've done. Today they are owning clubs in Europe and in North Africa. And the talent here and the scouting structure they've put in place to be able to discover talents, train them properly, and export them.
Our interest will be only the best. This question of saying the person must be a Ghanaian, that should not be the objective. The best. If the best comes from Japan or Kenya, you don't care. Because when you have the best in your hand, your products will come out very good. So, and I can tell you all these things have been put in place.
In the last 5 years, Accra Hearts of Oak have won 4 major titles, but their consistent flirting with relegation perhaps says a bit more about the current state of the football team. So while their struggles on the pitch are worrying, what the club is building off it is completely exciting. For Joy Sports, Victor Achita.